Sequence 3, Boston, 1755.
Hello, Charles. Any luck finding our mystery woman?
Word is she's been stirring up trouble just outside the city in a town called Lexington.
Well, then that's where we'll begin our search. I'll meet you there.
Alright, time to go to Lexington. Oh wow, pretty far away. Oh, we best be off. Alright, here we are. We've made it to the gateway to the frontier. Going through, we travel to the frontier. Not quite to Lexington, but we'll make it there. Looking at our map, we're not too far away, but the frontier looks pretty big. We have here some natives. Some redcoats patrolling. Alright. Here we're in the region of Lexington. So we must be close by. The old belfry, originally Lexington's meeting hall, didn't have a steeple for a bell, so a separate belfry was built to summon people to church services, funerals, fires, and of course to British soldier trooping into town to raid Patriot weapon caches. The belfry originally stood on a hill near the town, but was moved to this location in 1768, possibly because nobody found it fun to climb a big hill just to ring a bell, not unless they were a bit simple. It's a little odd that they said it was moved to this location in 17 whatever, but like the 1760s, 68 maybe, I forgot already. But the thing in the beginning of this said that it was 1755, so it would still be in its original location.
Have you found her?
She's made camp not too far from here.
Excellent. Well, the sooner we're done, the sooner we can get out of this cold.
We'll move faster on horseback.
Stop rushing me. Haytham, get on.
I am afraid I have some bad news, sir.
Oh?
Braddock is insisting I return to service under him. I've tried to beg off, to no avail.
No doubt he's still angry about losing Pitcairn. To say nothing of the shaming we gave him. Do as he asks. In the meantime, I'll work on having you released.
I'm sorry for the trouble.
Not your fault.
We're too late.
Fire's only just been snuffed. Snow recently disturbed. She's close.
Bollocks.
The tracks are fresh. It must be hers. Seems she took to higher ground. Out of the snow and into the trees. Wait here. Oh, damn it. Wait! Come back! You return to Braddock, Charles, before he grows suspicious. I can handle things from here.
But, sir!
But nothing. Go! Stop running! I only wish to talk! I am not your enemy! Please just hear me out! Gods, woman! Only let me speak! Enough with these games! You try my patience, woman!
Are you touched in the head?
Me, Haytham. I come in peace.
Why are you speaking so slow?
Sorry.
What do you want?
Well, your name, for one.
I'm Zio.
Pleased to meet you. God's day.
Just call me Zio.
Dio.
Zio.
Dio.
Now tell me why it is you're here. Where did you get this?
From an old friend.
I've only seen such markings in one other place.
Where?
Well, it is forbidden for me to speak of it.
I saved your people. Does this mean nothing to you? Look, I am not the enemy.
Close to here, there is a hill. Meet me there, and we'll see if you speak the truth.
Canitio. Burn for 1731. Canitio was a member of the Canaan Kehaka nation, living on the frontier lands near Boston at the time of the French and Indian War. Assassin records indicate she was the daughter of the Lacoyer, or clan mother, and from an early age was being groomed for leadership herself, while many in her community chose to ignore the insurrections by colonists into the area and growing tensions between the French and British. Canitio was convinced that they presented a very real danger. She began to argue to anyone who would listen that the village should take action rather than staying silent, which was contrary to the will of the clan chiefs at the time. She refused to follow their orders, to remain neutral, deciding to fight back in her own way, and recruiting help where she could get it, including from Haytham Kenway. And that's it for her. We missed the Boston Neck from earlier. Let's read it now. The Boston Neck. In the 18th century, the only land route into Boston was across a narrow strip of land called Boston Neck. One often talks about the heart of Africa, of course, or the bosom of Europe. How wonderful that Boston gets a neck. Fortifications were built across the neck to protect the city from a land attack, I suppose a bit like a heavy necklace or a handsome neck brace. When the siege of Boston began in 75, Governor Gage ordered that the fortifications be expanded and strengthened. They became known as Gage's Lines. Starting in the 19th century, land was added to Boston Neck, widening it to make room for the city to grow and presumably to ease traffic on and off the island, since Boston's no longer in danger of attack from the countryside. I believe that that's all that we missed, so we can continue on.
That town hosts soldiers who seek to drive my people from these lands. They're led by a man known as the Bulldog.
Edward Braddock.
You know him?
He is no friend of mine.
Every day, more of my people are lost to men like him.
Then I suggest we put a stop to it. Together.
What do you propose?
That we kill Edward Braddock. But first, we have to find him.
I don't trust you.
I know.
And we enter Concord. This was the regulars' destination when they set out from Boston on the day of the battles of Lexington and Concord. Inside the town, the British found cannon, flour, salt food, and musket balls. They broke the cannon and threw the rest into the local mill pond. A bad idea, since the local residents retrieved most of it later, undamaged. In their zeal, the regulars also accidentally set fire to the local meeting house. It happens, and then joined the Bucket Brigade to help put it out. However, the local militia saw the smoke and thought the regulars had set fire to the whole town. The militia marched in, causing a battle with the regulars at the North Bridge, just outside of town. It was a comedy of errors with very little comedy. The battle at the North Bridge battle was immortalized in the Concord Hymn, a popular poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Emerson lived in Concord in the 1830s, which probably made him a bit biased. He referred to the fighting at the bridge as the shot heard round the world. Bit of an overstatement, since the first shots of the war had been fired at Lexington hours before. Maybe he'd been napping. You know what poets are
Yet
like.
you remain.
That I might prove you wrong.
It will not happen.
So you say.
So I know.
Yet, I remain.
We stumble upon a trading post. Trading posts were essentially general stores set up in the North American frontier. The clientele, mainly explorers and members of local indigenous nations, would barter for various goods such as guns, axes, and pots and pans. Payment was mostly in the form of furs, which were shipped back to Europe. The fur trade at the time was extremely lucrative, and one of the reasons that explorers were continually moving into the frontier. They were hoping to find more and better sources of pelts. There was a reason Davy Crockett only ever seemed to have one hat. Many of the trading posts were privately owned, but they were used to push political agendas as well. For example, after the Revolutionary War ended, the British government used their trading posts to encourage the indigenous people not to sign treaties with the United States. The United States government took over the colonial fur trade in the colonies in 1796, establishing something called the factory system. The idea was to regulate prices in order to stop exploitation of the indigenous people by private traders. Unfortunately, under the new system, indigenous leaders were forced to trade large amounts of land to get access to trading posts. Private exploitation had become government exploitation. Lucky that's the only time in history that ever happened, since that obviously wasn't any better. The factory system was abolished in 1822.
Wait here. A Mohawkman is likely to raise suspicions, if not muskets.
This is hardly the first time I've been amongst your people. I can handle myself.
I hope so.
Can't stand being quartered there. The endless crashing of the waves, the sting of the salt in my eyes, and the goddamn gulls shrieking and shitting everywhere.
You're sure that's where we're going?
Aye, the Bulldog's putting together another expedition.
That's what they're calling them now. Expeditions.
Aye, smart too. Slap a fancy name on something and all evil is excused.
I hear tell the French are readying to move on our positions. Wonder what Braddock intends to do about it.
He's already left for the advance camp. I'll wager our little holiday here is just about ended. We'll be marching south before week's end.
Oi! Where are you going, Cully?
Me?
No, the other cock Robin.
Well, I was leaving.
Oh? And now?
Well, now... I'm going to feed you your teeth.
And you were worried I was going to be the problem?
Grenadiers. Grenadiers were originally the soldiers in charge of throwing grenades, hence the name. They were chosen for being tall, muscular, and fearless. Not only did they have the strength to throw grenades far enough to actually injure the enemy, they had to be brave, or stupid, enough to stay in the front lines of battle to do it. Grenadiers were also called upon to be fast, effective assault troops, helping with things like storming beaches during sieges, you know, all the standard easy jobs that are likely to get you killed. By the mid-18th century, grenades had fallen out of favor, but grenadiers were still regarded as elite regiments, called on to guard the right flank of their battalions, and still to do all the other dangerous work they'd gotten a reputation for. An interesting note on the hats. They were made high and narrow so that as not to get in the way while you were throwing grenades, which is a good feature to have. Eventually, the mitre hat became part of the standard dress uniform in numerous armies. It's also possible grenadiers just really dig the idea of looking like the Pope. History's mute on that point.
You're hurt.
Oh, it's nothing.
Here. I should stop the bleeding.
It wasn't necessary. But thank you.
We should move on. Meet me at Braddock's camp when you're ready.
And I think we'll end her there. Thank you all for watching. Next time we'll go to Braddock's camp. See what's going on there. But anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching. And comment, like, subscribe, dislike, whatever. Goodbye.